Hey everybody, this is Marco from Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, and it's just me today and tomorrow, and I'm here to talk about Avengers Endgame. My first reactions. This isn't going to be a traditional review where we rate movies in terms of food. This isn't going to be really anything. It's just going to be a quick little sort of sneak peek into what I thought about this epic conclusion to an 11-year span of movies. And right off the bat, I have to say I didn't go into this movie with uh, much hope because the Russos, I really can't trust them. They don't really say what what's really the truth most of the time. They say things like Infinity War is a heist movie, and spoiler alert, Infinity War was not a heist movie at all. In fact, Infinity War, I don't know what type of movie it is. That's how weird it is to me, anyways. And so I went into this movie sort of, I don't know, just wanting it to surprise me and to make me feel better about the MCU in general than how I've been feeling ever since Thor Ragnarok, when everything sort of just became a joke. And I bet a lot of you are thinking, oh, wait, he said he loved Thor Ragnarok. He thought it was a great movie. Yeah, that's true. That was at first glance, but after I really thought about it and really, there were a lot of things about that movie that I hate after thinking about them, and just a lot of characters I don't like, including Valkyrie and stuff like that. So Thor Ragnarok, after further analysis, I guess you'd say, I don't know, analysis. I guess you could say I don't like the movie, and so with this one, I was really I felt like the Avengers felt in this movie, like hoping for a miracle. And surprisingly enough, I was very entertained with this movie. There was a lot of just great character work in terms of. I'm not going to get into it right now, but specifically, but just all the characters for the most part, I really love them. There are a lot of issues I have with the film, though, and I can't wait to get into that. But as an experience, as someone who was in Iron Man for opening night, I can personally say that this was not an FU completely. This was not like most other Marvel movies that have been coming out. It was very slow paced, which is something I really liked a lot because it slowed down. I know there's going to be a lot of people too, a lot of fake MCU fans that see this movie and they're going to be like, it didn't have enough excitement and action. I don't like it. And, you know, it's a slow burn. It has a lot of character, a lot of meaningful stuff to it. But there are a lot of issues, as I said before. And one of the issues is that this movie does not have a lot of conflict. And not conflict in terms of action, is what I was just saying with what fake MCU fans are going to say, but just conflict in general. The Russos have been kind of devolving with each movie. Winter Soldier is their best one. Civil War is their second best one. Endgame is their third best one. And then Infinity War is their worst. So they've really gotten worse and worse. And to me, it's because I look at Winter Soldier and I don't really see potential for the Avengers movies. I see Winter Soldier and I see this grand story within the confines of a few characters: Cap, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, Falcon. Within those few characters, they were able to create something really special and really contrive a great story without making it feel forced. But in movies like Infinity War and Endgame and even Civil War, the plots feel so contrived. They, people have analyzed before the Baron Zemo's plan in Civil War, and it's a huge, complicated plan full of like little plot holes and things here and things there. And to me, it speaks to itself just looking at that plan that the Russos do not really know how to write a natural story using a grand idea like Infinity War. Because one of the biggest issues of this movie is that it rides off of Infinity War. And a lot of people love Infinity War, and it's because most of that movie is nothing but mind-numbing action and zero substance, and so that attracts them. You know, it's like having it, as Jody said in Jody's Corner. It's like having junk food, and you're just getting a quick fix. That's exactly like what it's like, and so no matter what this movie did, it was doomed to be a letdown from Infinity War because Infinity War had infinity mistakes and infinity plot holes and infinity problems, and but it also was just constant action. And in this movie, the only action was near the very end, and the action itself was very edited. Like, for this being the final battle of the MCU after these 10 years, it felt very sort of cheap the way that they would cut away after certain characters would start fighting, and just, I don't know, I did not like a lot of the action. But then there was some really good action too, so I don't know. It was more about the story. It was more about the story that came before the action and not the action itself driving the story. So yeah, I don't take that like you want to take it. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie though, and I felt like there was a lot of redeeming points in this movie. The Russos really made up for certain things in Infinity War, such as one of people's complaints, including me. Where's Captain America? Why is he just this like cameo role and stuff like that? And also, Black Widow in this movie, I gotta say, she has risen up the ranks of being one of my favorite MCU superheroes. Still not anywhere near my favorite though, but this movie really made me put her above where I put her before. And Hawkeye was a fantastic character, but this being a PG-13 movie, I really wasn't sold on the fact that he became this monstrous person, Ronan. I wasn't sold on that. And so I think they did a poor job of doing that. There are a lot of plot holes in this movie. There are a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of problems. And what sucks is I can't talk about any of them until we do the review. So that'll be like next week too, just so you know. We're going to see it on Wednesday since it's a discount day. But really quickly, I'll just finish up last few thoughts. There were some movie references that I really loved in this movie, such as The Big Lebowski, Apocalypse Now, and time travel movies. They just list them out. I love that. And there were three huge missed opportunities. And missed opportunities meaning they would do something and then you'd expect something to follow and nothing that you thought that would happen would follow. And then I hate to use this word because this is an everyone channel. You know, we don't want to restrict who's watching these reviews, but I'll just go ahead and say it. There was a couple of moments, a couple of scenes in this movie that almost felt a little masturbatory. I, I such I don't want to go into specifics yet. I I'm sorry for using that word, but it's true. There were moments in this movie that dragged on and on and on, and not like scenes, but just these moments, and you're like, okay, you know, the fun's over, the moment's over, we get it, and it would just go on and on and on. Probably like me in this review, right? And those moments, they really kind of left a sour taste, and then the ending, at the end, they were talking about, you know, SJW agendas. There was some of that near the very end, and I don't really care if you consider that a spoiler or not because it really pissed me off. It really left a bad feeling. You know, most of the movie, I I was in love with it. I was just glued to everything happening. I was excited. I was sad. I was crying. I was cheering. I was laughing. And then at the end of this movie, they introduced these SJW narratives, and it really, really irritated me. It made me feel like what am I doing here? Why am I still supporting this Marvel universe when I know what they're gonna try and do in the future? I know what they're gonna try and uh, try and get me to watch because you know a lot of it's just deconstructed characters. A lot of uh, we don't care about the comics. We're just gonna do whatever we want. And they do that even without the SJW stuff, and I'll talk about that in the spoiler section. Even without agendas, they still find ways to, you know, make me upset. And that's not coming from a hardcore comic fan. Keep that in mind. I loved the Spider-Man movies and Spawn when I grew up, and the only comics that I have actually, I have Civil War and I have the Kick-Ass comics, all the Kick-Ass comics. Those are the only ones that I have. And so I'm not one of those, you know, the stereotypical Simpsons comic book guy. I'm not one of those. I am just a casual fan who happens to know a lot of knowledge from the comics, from doing research and such. And so overall, I have very positives about this movie and very negatives. It's a mixed bag. It is a big mixed bag. Because on one hand, it's a great movie, and even though it's slow and it lacks conflict, you never want to fast forward through what's going on or leave the room. Whereas with Infinity War, I just rewatched it last week and I fast forwarded through most of it actually. I only watched like a couple of scenes, and other than that, I was bored to tears. So that should tell you something about Infinity War. Well, I'll see you next week to talk about this Endgame with a full-on review, including Safi's usual 20-minute introduction. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.